A very good morning and welcome to AM Live. My name is Ken Mijungu and perhaps this is my last show. So let me take this opportunity to wish you happy holidays, a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I'll see you next year. But before then, let's do the show for one last time. And it's that time of the year where we don't check our spending as individuals. And we forget a very vital aspect of January, that it has 60 days, actually 60 days. And there's a lot of expenditure involved in January. So we're taking this opportunity to try and educate you. There's a lot of questions revolving around, what do I do? Personally, I have to admit I can't save. I use what I have. So I don't know how I'm going to go through January, but this is the reason why I'm having this panel this morning. And to introduce them, Manyara Kirego is a personal financial planner, a coach and a trainer. We also have Frida Owinga, who is a business breakthrough coach, founder of Passion Profit. And we have Waidaka Gatumia, who is the Chief Executive Officer for Centonomy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Let me begin with asking a personal question, because for me, January is usually 70 days, not even 60. I don't know what to do. And I'll ask this to Kirigo. When in January, I have two siblings. They are going to university. I have to take care of their bills. I have a daughter who's in school. I have to take care of her bills. I have a wife who's in school. I have to take care of her bills. Don't forget my other bills. How do I scrape through? How do I manage? What do I do?
Well, unfortunately, that's a question you shouldn't ask in December. You should ask it in January of the year.
Okay.
Of the previous year.
Oh, the previous. So I should have planned for next year, this year.
It's all about planning. If you don't want financial stress in your life, you have to plan your finances. And by the way, you really enjoy your life when you plan it, because you'll not be caught off guard. You'll not be caught by surprise. Because like all those bills you've mentioned, you knew about them, didn't you?
They're constant.
Absolutely. So plan. Planning is the key.
We don't plan. We don't plan. Frida, we don't plan.
I really like.
And it's difficult to plan in January. How do I plan in January?
I really like what he said. And planning doesn't really begin in January. Planning begins when you make the decision to get married, for your wife to go to school, and for all the other things that you say you have bills for. Bills don't just happen in a vacuum. Bills start with a decision, a choice to buy whatever it is that you're paying for. School, when you decide you're going to go to school. I was just reading, somebody was deciding they're going to take their PhD. It was going to cost them $850,000. How are they going to get that $850,000 over the period of mind? As a breakthrough coach, one of the things I do for people is to help them understand what is the philosophy running their life. Because you have a paradigm, and the Kenyan paradigm, a common Kenyan paradigm, is this January thing. All right, so we just go with the flow and pretend that, oh, poor us, January has happened to us. But January comes for everybody, every year. All right, so it came for you last year, and it is 30 days all over the world. So until you get out of that faulty paradigm, that faulty myth that in January there's always Nja, it's going to be very difficult, because that means when you're making your decisions and your choices, actually when you're choosing and deciding, you're not really thinking about the 12 months of the year. You're not even thinking about 5 years from now, how will this decision impact my life? So life begins with the end in mind. With your end in mind, you will make better decisions. With your end in mind, you will plan. With the end in mind, your choices, you'll take more responsibility for your choices. So you stop blaming the government, stop blaming the months. God made January with 31 days, and it has been 31 days ever since we were little, Ken Mijungu. So let's not blame the calendar.
And I stopped blaming my salary.
Can we tell everybody around the country watching right now that nonsense of blaming the calendar? Kenya has 31 days in January, like every other country around the world.
Frida, I'm going to ask you then what happens. But let me hear from Waidaka first. I'm going to ask you what happens in January.
First of all, thank you for having us. You made two statements that are concerning to me. First of all, this is your last show. I don't know where you're going.
No, for 2018.
You didn't clarify that.
Oh,
you see, you must be very clear. So I was a bit concerned about that. Then the second thing is, you made very specific declarations over yourself. You said that my January has 70 days.
Yes.
And so if you say so, it will be so.
It's a difficult time for everyone.
You're actually planning for it. You're actually saying this is what's going to happen. So it's going to be like that. It will be tough. It will be difficult because now you've said it's going to be too long. I won't have enough money for it. It will be like that. When you begin
You're not helping me.
No,
you're not
I am
helping
helping
me
you.
at all.
I'm helping
You're
you.
not helping
You
me.
said it.
Yes.
So now I'm trying to help you. Begin to say something else. So like in our classes at Centonomy, one of the things that is very difficult for people to say is that it's my fault. So we have a session in which we break through and we say, look, when you consider your personal finances, this is actually where you have reached now is your fault. And it sounds like a very harsh thing, Ken, to say about yourself, isn't it? It's a very
harsh. I wouldn't say it for anything.
But I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to hear you. You see, when you say it is your fault, it takes ownership. If it is anybody else's fault, then you have no power to change it.
Okay.
If it is your fault, then you have the power to change that. Right now, it was your fault that you said 70 days.
So I will live.
You have the power right now. I'm not leaving you in that same place. I want to take you further. So you have the power right now to say, declare it properly, the actual number of days. There you go.
It's going to be 10 days.
There you go. And you know, as my fellow panelists have said, it's exactly that. It's about planning. And it can be 10 days if you want it to be.
Okay.
Ken, you know those things are coming up just now. Yes. I know during Christmas, your employer is thinking about you a little bit more. You might get a bonus. The salary might come a little bit earlier. Why not begin to pay now before you go on holiday?
That's not if it's come already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If your bank account is smiling at you at this moment, spend. Put it into those things that you said that are important to you.
Okay.
So watch your mouth and begin planning exactly as what
So what you're asking me essentially, and I want your response as also, is if I can pay right now, let me do it right now before I overspend.
Yes. Absolutely.
But before I talk about that, because I want to talk about that, because that's what people need to know from this. How do I manage to ensure that when January comes, I have a colleague here called Kenneth Muredi. He told me he's paid his children's school fee. He's already paid.
Yes.
It's not bothering him.
Yes.
So I like to talk about that. But first, in December, we tend to be overly generous. How do we stop that? Because it happens. I'm going to see my mother at home. She might want a new TV, you know? Yes.
Again, it's about knowing that the month of December is going to be having other expenses more than the normal months. So you make arrangements for that. You know that you're probably going to travel a lot more. You're going to have to give those gifts to maybe your parents if you're going up country. So that all should be in your budget. Brings that word of the word which most people don't even like, budget.
Budget, yes.
Or a spending plan. So cater for all those, the ones you can foresee in that. And again, there are a few important things to think about. Wedaka mentioned about a bonus, or is it Frida?
Yes.
About a bonus. Now that bonus is it can either help you or you can just fritter it away. You can use it to increase, for instance, your emergency fund. You can use some of it to pay some, like for instance, to top up your investments. And in addition to that, you can also use it to buy life insurance, because life insurance and health insurance, because now during this period, so many things tend to happen. There's so many accidents, and if your health insurance is not up to date, or it's not, it doesn't cover much, it could end up impacting your whole financial situation very seriously. So we should use that. But also remember that it's a month of December, we need to celebrate. So some of it should go to that specifically.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a matter of you enjoy yourself, but the enjoyment should be also
mentioned.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how we'll do that.
Adding on to what he has said, for me, the bottom line is really December doesn't happen upon us. December has been coming every year since we were little. So why don't you plan for it? And planning for December starts, I like the way at the end of the year, everybody starts with the resolutions. In the few weeks' time, we're going to do the resolution thing, right? So resolutions don't have to happen only at the beginning of the year. Resolutions can happen at the beginning of every day, of every week, of every month. How am I going to lead my life? Because money is a part of your life. Money gives you options. So how am I going to generate income to cater for the lifestyle that I want? what is the lifestyle that I even want? So that we can get out of these little boxes of month end, bonus, and this and the other. Why don't we sit down with ourselves and just decide, as Frida, this is the lifestyle that I want. And for this lifestyle, I will need X amount. And for X amount, I may need a job. I may need to side hustle. What is it that you'll need? At Passion Profit, we help you clarify what is your passion that can turn into profit. Because if you don't clarify the one way you're going to generate income, then people come and say, oh, Frida, to be a millionaire, you need 7 streams of income. The key thing is, what is your primary? What are your primary education, exposure, and experience that can generate income for you based on the value that you'll bring? And it doesn't mean that you'll just do one job, but it's counterproductive to be a chicken seller, to sell spare parts, to sell. So we help you figure out what are the things that you can do to generate the income that you need for the lifestyle that you want. And that's why we say we help you create a life and work that you absolutely love and enjoy. So you are not spreading yourself too thin. But back to what do you do now? It is December. Start by resolving what is the lifestyle you want, all right? I'm not about don't live in Kitisuru. There are people who live in Kitisuru. Why shouldn't I live there? All right. But if you want to live in Kitisuru, what are you going to do to live in Kitisuru? So I'm all about allowing people to make the choices that they want, to understand what are the options, and then you make the choices, and then own your choices by the decisions you make every day. If you want to live in Kitisuru and your finances are not there, how are you going to raise that income? How are you going to be eating ugali and skuma wiki for a period of time? You know, because sometimes we want everything at once. It's a process, and the process begins with, what is my end in mind? What is the lifestyle I want? How much will that lifestyle take? And what am I willing to do within reason to get there? Okay. And then that becomes my lifestyle. So January to December, I don't have to enjoy only in December. I don't understand this nonsense. I'm sorry, pardon me, I'm on national TV, that we celebrate only in December. We can celebrate every month. You can have a time that you celebrate with your family and loved ones every month if you plan for it. What if they, okay, let me be careful. December is a time that we do that. Again, it's a mindset. It doesn't have to be like that.
It's our culture, it's our tradition.
It is our culture. I've lived in America, I've lived in Kenya. When I was in America, I didn't have to wait for December to have fun. No, that is where I learned that I can choose when are the moments of time that I want to have fun. And you can too. That is by understanding how much will I need to make to do that. Will I need to get a job? Will I need to run a business? What kind of business is it going to be? Do I have the education, experience, and exposure to run it? And if I don't, what support do I need? Business is not hard. Ignorance is what makes business hard. I'll just throw that in right now, because business owners are going to now come, you know, oh, we are the ones who are suffering. They didn't tell us this, they didn't tell us the other. There was this thing that was running around social media last week about entrepreneurs. Oh, they didn't tell us it was going to be hard. They didn't tell us. They didn't tell us. And I say this with all respect and love, that if you're an entrepreneur, you are not told what to do. You get information and make decisions about what to do. When you're being told what to do, you're under somebody else's authority. And I'll be as polite as that.
Okay. As much as I'd want to ask you that question before I ask the next, you've mentioned something that I have to ask you before I skip to Waithaka. And this is the finding your passion for profit, right?
Yes.
My interest in this is twofold, but I'll ask you only one.
Yes.
If I have a lot of revenue stream,
yes.
I take it like a bucket.
Yes.
That has several taps filling into it.
Nice.
And I have only 1 or 2, 3 taps.
Yes.
Right? I have my own family, I have my extended family, and I have probably friends, so the people I support. These are 3 taps. If I have 7
These
taps,
are 3 taps
drawing out.
Okay.
But the more I have, if I have 7, I don't have to. Yes, I don't have to worry, because at any one moment I will have a reserve. But if I have 1 tap, I'm employed by Nation, and I have 3, 4 taps drawing out.
Okay.
Make that practical for me, because you're discouraging. You want me to find passion. I like Nation. I like to work here.
Like that.
That's my passion, and my salary is constant. Depends on my employer.
I like that.
Yes.
And that is the myth. That is the error when it comes to passion. When we talk about passion, my passion is making sure that this narrative of business owners don't make it up to their third, 90% of businesses don't make it to their third, but they don't live to their fifth birthday. My passion is to correct that, all right? So it may look like one passion, but it's diverse. All right, it involves training, it involves speaking, it involves mentoring and coaching, but that is the focus I have chosen. So when you hear that you're going to turn your passion into profit, you should not hear one stream.
Okay.
There's a lady I was just speaking to before I came here. She's passionate about cleaning. She has started a cleaning business. But when I sat with her and explained to her how we can package her to get the money that she needs, first, the name of her business is going to change. And then the thing she was going to do, because of her education experience and exposure, she can not only clean, she can also do interior decor. Because just in the room that we were sitting, she started telling me, these lamps are too big, these lamps need to change, the color of this, the color of the other. But we found 5 other things that she can do.
Okay.
Okay. So we have made her
within what she likes to do right now.
Within what she likes to do,
okay.
We got 5 other streams of income. And that's what we do. Because the thing that is killing businesses, that is making this research of not reaching your 5th birthday 90%, is because these businesses, somebody will start quail today, and then it's not making enough money. Tomorrow they will start quail eggs. Today it was quail danyama. Tomorrow they'll do the quail eggs. And not to put them down, we are in a serious place where there's no jobs, and we are taught to find a job. We are taught to go to work. So it is even commendable that Kenyans are figuring out what to do to make money. So I don't put it down on them. But the problem is, if you now start selling glasses, selling phones, selling furniture, then you spread yourself too thin. All right.
Yes.
But if we can figure out what is your passion in the context of what is the value you carry. Everybody has a God-given purpose, and there's a passion that will fuel that purpose to create your wealth. It can be through business, it can be through working for somebody else, but God is not crazy to give you 100 passions. No, I'm a believer, and I'm not trying to preach, but I've been in this space over 20 years, and I've come to realize what is hurting people is wanting more money, thinking I need to do more. The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and toiling doesn't add on to it.
Okay.
So the key thing is finding out what is your purpose, what is the passion that will drive it, what is your education exposure and experience. And education is not just the degree. There's a lot that we have learned outside classrooms. We don't bring that into play. At Passion Profit, we bring that into play to help you so that even while you're at Nation, the Nation kind of jobs are going to go away. Life is changing. You're going to be paid according to the value that you bring on the table. So the big, fat, 6-figure salaries, that life is going. The big corner offices, that life is going. So the people who are figuring out how to start their own businesses, they're on the money, because you're going to be paid according to the work that you do.
Okay. Fortunately, I learned as you mind someone's business, you have to mind your own business. But again, let me speak to the lady one more time.
Okay, I want to help you.
You want to help me? You will help me. Just one moment. Just one more question to the lady, then you help me.
No, but the lady will keep quiet.
You have changed the narrative of putting all your eggs in one basket. I like that. You've changed it totally. All right, let me skip. I wanted to ask you, but I can see the line. So just contribute to the earlier question.
Yes.
Hardly enough. Contribute to that.
That's actually why I wanted, so then you can move to the next part.
Okay.
First of all, Ken, you have no excuse beyond this point. The wisdom that has been shown on this table, if you live here and you're the same for the next year, I don't know what else we can do to help you. So first of all, I'm really excited to be here. Just to add on that same discussion, when we begin to talk about our passion or purpose, those two words come in the same kind of place. I want to give maybe a little bit more clarity to that. Think of your passion or your purpose not as an action or activity, but as a theme. If you heard what she said, it's the theme of her life that is to help people. And you help people by training, by giving them talks, by preparing material. And I have to give a shout out to my immediate former, Washeke Ndwati, because she's the example that we have been following for a long time. She built up this company in 2019. The next few days, this company will be 10 years old, Centonomy. And in this moment, she made that choice to actually begin to explore other areas of her passion. So she's trained, she's prepared material around personal financial management, around entrepreneurship, around career development, and now she has said, here, Waithaka, take it on, take the team and continue along this same passion while I'm joining you. So she's not left completely, but she's found, like for instance, she spent most of this year writing her first book. Now, is that something that you would have done necessarily as a trainer? And many trainers stay their whole lives without doing that. And so she took that next step. And in finding your passion, it is more like a theme, not an activity. And when you find that theme of your life, if it's helping people, if it's building networks, whatever it is, in your case, it's communication. Communication is not just sitting here in front. You can write, you can be able to help organizations get that message out as best as possible. So, Ken, you're not limited to this one place. I'm not speaking, they can't hear you. Don't worry. Your bosses can't hear you. You're not limited to this one thing. You're not just one thing. No. And so, I wanted to help specifically those who are thinking, it is December, we must enjoy ourselves.
Yes.
Here are some things we can do for now.
Yes.
This is one of the things we must begin to think about. First of all, the wisdom that we've had at this table, we must begin to implement. So plan. Even with what you have right now, as you said, Ken, you know how much you have in your account, you know what's going on right now. So plan and say, what can we be able to achieve?
Okay.
Then understand what it is you want to achieve. If it is an experience with your family, an experience does not have to be the most expensive thing in the world. You see, by God's grace, I have traveled around this world. And I went to New York City with my wife. And we went to New York City. And you know, the first thing that you want to do when you get to that city is to get up the Empire State Building and go stand and overlook the city. I came home and I pinched myself because you know what? Until this year, I've lived in this country for over 35 years. And I have never been to the top of I had never been to the top of KICC until this year. But it was an experience for my kids. I took them there. They had never seen the city from that perspective. Do you know how expensive it is to go up KICC? It's 200 bob for a Kenyan.
And how many dollars on the other side?
On the other side, you don't even want to know. First of all, first of all, you have to travel there. Then you wait in line because there are thousands and thousands of other people who are waiting. I went in winter, which was a mistake, so the waiting was in cold. Here we have a beautiful, I'm telling you, go up KCC, just go and stand there. And I compared the two. Our city is so much more beautiful. The trees that are there, I mean, it's just truly the green city in the sun. Do you see, when you understand the thing that you're trying to achieve, then it's not so much about the amount of money that you're spending. It's really about what do you want to get out of it for your kids. So if it is an experience you want to have, be creative.
Okay.
Don't just do what everybody else is doing. Think differently. So for those who are beginning their planning now, although the wisdom is you should have planned earlier,
it's too late.
I know
it's
not too late.
It's too late.
You can still begin to do that even now. Even now.
Too late. And the thing
12 days to the end of the year.
You can still do it.
It's not
There's another December coming up.
Okay.
There's another Christmas season.
Yes.
And again, another perspective we must learn to take is of the long term, taking the long term view. And so that we don't get caught by surprise. And that's how come too many of us, we end up getting caught up, like when our kids grow up, now they're ready to go to college, and we don't have the money. And what were we thinking all this time? That short-term thinking. Yeah, we're thinking of Mombasa. It's not that we shouldn't do such things. It's that we should plan for them. Just have them, have it organized.
But Mr. Kirigo, just one question for Kirigo.
Yes.
There's those of us who believe what I have. Like I've had trouble with my mom for since I started working in 2008. She asked me, what do you save? I tell her, Mom, at the end of my expenses, I have hardly 2,000, 10,000 shillings left. How do you even ask me to save? Now, those people who are watching and saying, we hardly have enough to take us through the month. What are you asking me? What are you asking me?
And I think,
Okay, first of all,
Yes.
the name is Kirago.
Kirago, sorry. Yes.
Kirago.
Yes.
There is no income which is too small or little so that somebody cannot save. No income is too small. And the way to do it is whatever you plan to save it first. Remove it first from your income. And then survive on what is left. And I can assure you, you will survive.
You
I'm
will.
sure probably you're a member of a SACCO somewhere.
Yes.
Are you?
Yes, I am. Nation Circle.
Yeah, and you pay every month, they deduct from your salary, right?
I do, yes.
And you've
That's
actually
saving.
forgotten about that amount which they deduct. You're used to it. You're used to them deducting it.
Please go tell your mom, I'm saving.
Yes, yes. So you're actually saving.
Yes.
And that paying yourself first is very key to being able to save. So if you organize your finances so that if you have a salary, it's being deducted from the salary, either by salary checkoff or bank standing order, you'll get used to that money not being there, and you'll live on what is left. And at the same time, you'll be accumulating the savings. And by the way, those savings are not just supposed to be done haphazardly. You're supposed to be doing it intentionally. I'm saving to buy a house. I'm saving for my child's education. I'm saving for my retirement. That way, the big four, the big three, those ones I've just mentioned, they won't catch you by surprise, because those are the really bad ones. If you think being broke in January is bad, wait until you retire with no money.
With no money
Then you
and
know
no
what
investment.
you Yes.
And you know the funniest
you
thing,
retire.
Mr. Kirago, I have learned,
Yeah.
I have never saved for those 3 reasons at the SACCO. I save at the SACCO to obtain loans.
In fact, that's not saving.
And loan for what?
That's what I've been doing.
My brother,
I think
you're not taking notes. Please,
I'm listening. I'm listening to you.
It's
But
being
Freda, you want to
recorded.
say something?
Yeah, I did want to say something that, yes, we are in December. December is a time for celebrating. I stick with one thing, that what is your philosophy about celebrating? What is your end in mind? What is the end in mind you have about December? Let's not even think about January. Yes, we have 2 weeks. Yes, you have your family. You may not have that money to spend the way that you wanted to spend it, and you're getting all this wisdom and knowledge. This is a good time to step back and find out, okay, this is where I'm at. There may be nothing I can do about what has happened behind, but for the next 2 days, I'm going to take time out myself and walk at Uhuru Park. There are many gardens here you can walk for free. Go up KICC. Just take some time away by yourself and figure out, what do you want with your life? Whether, in terms of income, how much would you like to generate? Why are you not generating it? What can you start doing so that January doesn't become another time of lamentation, but it really becomes the time of kicking off. Like what I'm telling business owners right now is, kickstart your 2019 profit now, because business owners rarely make a profit. We are always waiting for the accountant to give us the audited account after 12 months. No, it is too late to know after 12 months. You need to, the 30-month cycle is a salary cycle. As a business owner, you need to know every day what is happening about generating clients, about conversions, and about transactions in your company. You need to know every day, not after 12 months. All right. So this is a good time to step back. If you don't have any money, just step back, find a quiet place, and start thinking about, how much money do I really want? Because most people don't know. I was speaking with a business owner before I came here just now, and because Thursday is Founders Day at Passion Profit, I like to work with the business mentoring coaches, and I've said I'm going to do that until the day I die, even if we get somebody else. But that is what I'm here for. And this person said they want to make $200,000 a month. And I told him, you're lying, because you can't tell me you have a team of 15 plus you. How much salary will you be making? And that is not, they are not lying to me intentionally. It's just a clear sign that we don't always know the numbers that we need to be making. And that's okay, because if they did know, then we wouldn't exist, all right? So the key thing is, start with yourself. How much are you really making? How much should you make? He talked about budget, and people are afraid of words like that. So I make it very simple for you. How much are you making? How much should you be making? Why? And what are you willing to do to make that? And that is all the budget equation that people are running away from. So now, before January, step back and think like that. For your family, what is it? Okay? And then, so I like one thing, and I let it go, is even saving. Your mom is asking you to save. It's a mindset that we have been taught we need to save. Pay yourself first. But you're paying yourself for what? If you don't have an intentional, deliberate reason why you're saving, what is the end in mind for this saving? Because if you have an end in mind for the saving, you can have an end in mind to be in Mombasa, and then Mombasa is going to cost you 50,000, 30,000. How much will you save every month to make that? Then your saving becomes more reasonable. If you are in the SACCO to get loans, what are these loans for? So you see, we have some tweaking of paradigm that we need to do so that we can enjoy every month. Life is not only enjoyed in December.
In December. Let's get lessons from Centonomy now.
Ken.
Yes.
I I know you have ambitions. I can even see by the flag on your
Oh,
jacket
my
there.
God.
I know you
Yes.
have ambitions. I can see where you want to go. And where you're thinking of going, there's a thing called a lifestyle audit, which I hope you're going to do before you get into the public eye and everybody's watching you and then asking you, how did you get to where you are going? One of the things that we must start with, and in fact we start all our classes with at Centonomy, is a lifestyle audit. And I want you to do that, and everybody here to do that for themselves. Go home and actually audit yourself. Where did my money go? I don't know if you're like me, but my experience, because I'm also a student of Centonomy, I would remember leaving the house with 1,000 shillings in my pocket, and I'll come home and I cannot tell you where that 1,000 bob went. I can't give you an account. So the first thing to do now, Ken, and you can do this. I know it would be difficult during the holidays, but guess what? Success doesn't come easy. Take some time and actually figure out, where is my money going? My personal experience, which I've shared hundreds of times, is that my wife and I, we found that we were spending more on takeout food than our rent when we did our lifestyle audit, because we had never seen it. We thought it was just 300 bob a day for lunch. But you know, when you did the calculation, it's her spending 300, I'm spending 300. That's already how much? 600. 600 times 5, that's 3,000 in a week. On the weekend, do you spend more or less? More. You see, the wisdom on this side said it depends. You immediately said more.
I have takeout, and I'm not cutting out takeout from my food. I've just decided a lifestyle that can afford takeout.
So I said
I'm not saying don't
we did
eat
that
takeout.
exactly, and I'm not saying we don't eat either. It's just that we had never seen the amounts that were actually going there.
Yes.
And so when we did the calculations, we actually found, when we broke it down, it was more than our rent. And so we said, this does not make sense. We sat with a group of friends of ours and we said, and guess you can imagine where we were sitting, saying we're spending too much on what we're doing right now. And so as we're sitting there, we said, what can we do? And a friend of mine said, why don't you get a chef? And we did the mathematical calculation. It was actually cheaper to hire a chef in our house to eat that kind of food every day than it was the lifestyle that we were actually going through. Do you know we did it? And we were making a saving every month of over 10,000 bob, simply by making, and then we had bragging rights to go and sit somewhere, you know, where you're sitting, and my chef, you know.
Yes.
Not, and people were thinking now we're really doing well. No,
chef.
We were actually even doing better now because we were spending less and had even more for those moments that are important to us. As you said, the takeout food is important. It's not necessarily the food for us. We found it was the social aspect of it. And so when you begin to break it down to that level, that's what it is. And so when if you don't mind, in December like now, I want you now to begin to think differently and to say, what do I want to achieve and what am I willing to do to get there?
Okay.
That I just wanted to end with that.
Absolutely.
So simple things like that matter.
The question that comes out of your explanation and your story, beautiful story, is once I save the 10,000 shillings,
correct,
then I think I have extra amount of money.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how this works out.
How?
Right now, I am employed by a nation. Probably I live some average place, right? I pay my rent probably 30, 40,000 shillings. At the end of the day, I like
that it is probably. No, we want to know how much you're paying for rent. Lifestyle audit is exact.
So at the end of the year, I get promotion. Correct. I get more money. I was earning 100,000. Now I'm earning 150,000. Yeah. You know the exact thing I'll do? I have 50,000 shillings extra. Kilelesho apartment. Apartment. Then I realized that I'm going to spend more. Then I said I'm driving an average Toyota, 1300cc. I'm thinking I should get a Pajero or Prado for 2000 cc. Then the extra money you're asking us to save.
Correct.
What happens?
I didn't say to save. I didn't say save. I didn't say save.
I become poorer, right? And so he saves the 10,000, and you know what he'll do with the 10,000?
That is the exact plight of most professionals.
Yes.
They are poorer than they were when they started out. Because they end up in lifestyles which cost more, and then they make one mistake. They don't accumulate wealth. Because in all these things we're doing, eventually, in order to be financially free, financially independent, you need assets or investments which will be able now to replace that income, so that, because eventually you'll have to either slow down in your work if you're, or retire. Then what will happen?
I
don't have
give these
assets.
personal examples because they are very true and practical
are
to a lot of
correct.
people.
Yes.
I'll give you another example.
That's
I
what
sat
the
here
life
with
out
Engineer Gumbo, yes, Rarieda, former Rarieda Member of Parliament. He told me, Ken, you know, since I came to Nairobi, the first house I acquired is a house I live in to date. I have never changed my lifestyle. The house I built at home is the same house. I renovated here and there, but it's the same house. So basically, my lifestyle has been static. I have not had to spend extra money. So that's practical. I'll give you my own example. When I cleared law school in 2007, I told my colleagues, I'm going to Nairobi. If I get a law firm that I'll be paid 30,000 shillings,
Hey,
I'll
life.
be the happiest person ever. I got to Nairobi, Roski Mother at K24 paid me 60,000 first salary.
Hey.
I didn't see the money.
You didn't see the
I
money.
didn't see the money.
'Cause your
Remember,
life
I
grew.
wanted,
See, it
yes,
grew.
I wanted 30,000,
Yes.
but I was paid 60. I didn't see the money.
In our classes, we see people earning over 1 million shillings a month. But if your lifestyle is greater than your
There
income,
is.
it does not matter whether you're earning
2 million,
10,000 or
10
10 million.
million.
Does
So-
not
That's what-
matter.
In
So
fact, that's the basic rule of finance,
Yes.
of
Yes.
personal finance.
And-
You must spend less than you earn.
Than you
If
earn.
you
You
break
must
that,
spend less than you earn.
and
but
then,
you
and then
must-
what is left, you now invest it so that it grows, and eventually it'll free you from the tyranny of having to work to live.
I really like
Interesting.
all those thoughts, because the key thing is it's like we look for solutions midway. All right. So this is not a conversation to start midway. It's really a conversation of stepping back. And stepping back is to really define, what do I want out of this life?
Okay.
The reason people don't succeed is because they have not defined what success looks like for them. For somebody, success will be this guy you have described who has had a static life, and that's okay. But for somebody else, they want a life that is progressional, and progressional is a human thing, all right? Because our path is like the shining light, it shines brighter. So it is okay for us to want more. The problem is we don't define what we want in the first place. So the key thing for me, if I was not to say anything else, was the first key thing we need to define, what is our end in mind? Steve Covey said, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, always start with your end in mind. So even with this 30,000 that you wanted, what was the end in mind that you had? That if I have 30,000, how will I divide this 30,000? Your 60,000 might still be here. But because you didn't have that, the 60,000 got at the taps where it was going to leak for. So for me, what I found works anywhere, whether in class, at home, in my own life, is having the end in mind. Because when I have the end in mind, that the lifestyle I want is to live in Kitusuru. I may live in South Sea today, but these are the different things I'm going to do to live in Kitusuru. And I want to drive a red Mercedes. So even if you come with a Prado, I really don't care. I want a
So you
Mercedes,
go.
all right?
So you go.
And if you want to drive a Pro Box, I respect you also. So it's not about driving a Pro Box. It's about, what do I want? That's a question that we need to answer, and then start owning the choices and decisions that we make over that. Otherwise, we can sit here and talk all day and all night, but success comes as a result of us defining what is success. And it's a progressive realization towards a predetermined goal. But because we don't have the predetermined goal, when we get the extra 10,000, it becomes too little, because our needs will always expand to the amount of money that we have.
Okay.
So decide what kind of life and work do you want, and what are you going to do to get it, and what is the support that you need. Because if you don't know that also, you get confused by different philosophies. We are living in a time of information. There's lots of information. We have Centonomy, we have Passion Profit, we have, I don't know who, we have Strathmore, we have Kim, we have who, Utafuata Nani. If you don't have a clear end in mind, this is the lifestyle I want,
Okay.
and this is the philosophy that will help me, then you get all confused in that space, and then your 30,000 still is not enough.
Waithaka, Frida, and Kirago.
Kirago.
You guys sound like you never have financial problems.
Who told
Excuse
you?
me?
That's what you sound.
Did I not just confess in
That's what you sound like.
Did I not confess?
Like,
told you?
all your decisions are on point,
Did I
like a dot.
Did I not?
That's what I get
Did
from
I not
you.
just confess
You did.
on national TV about a problem that we had?
But that
about-
was the
and I told you, and I
problem.
told you, and I told you.
No.
This was one single line item on my budget. I didn't even tell you about the rest of them.
Okay.
But it's about saying at every stage of your life, how can you begin to put things together and in order in a way to help you? And one of the biggest problems that we have, I wanted just to build on what she was saying earlier on. That description of perfect of cars is that she said, you're driving a Prado, I want a Mercedes. That is a very wonderful thing to say. Why? Because many of us are living above our means, are living constantly wondering if we're going to achieve our dreams, are living in hardship because we're measuring ourselves against one another.
Against other people.
I have no idea what your responsibilities are. I have no idea what you're going through.
What I do
and
to
by the
make
way,
the money.
Ken,
Yes.
I know that you don't care what I'm going through. You may see me, this is the joke I always tell in our classes.
Yeah.
You may see me in my nice car and you come and say, nice car, and continue with your life. I'm left with a loan for 5 years so that you can say, nice car,
every time
and
you
then
drive
forget
past
about
me.
me.
Yes.
The thing is, we get so caught up in what will other people say.
Think about
So
it.
when you spoke about that MP, his concern was for many other things. And I've sat with extremely wealthy people. And one of the defining factors that each one of them has is this. They do not define themselves by others. They set themselves for what they want, and they're happy in it. So if he's happy to live in that one house, that's great. That's his journey.
Yeah.
There are other people who have more, who want more, and that's fine. That's your journey. I think we have to stop worrying about, and I see it. I'm telling you, Ken, I know when you say that, I know what we're talking about. Because there's a pressure that comes when you come and you park next to your colleagues and you're in your Toyota and you're seeing these German-made cars on this other side and you feel a pressure to go there. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with the German cars. Please have ambition to have them. But it's wrong when you want it simply because somebody else wants it.
No.
When you want it for yourself, and it matters to you, then I have nothing against anybody who would spend 100,000 shillings on a phone. I know it may sound extravagant to somebody else, but the thing is, if it matters to me, I have made a plan for it. It makes me happy. Not so that I can come and, you know, the Kenyans, I put my
Put it
phone
on
there
the table,
so that you apparently think more of me. You'll see it for 1 second, say nice
It's
phone,
good, yeah.
and then it's gone. You must define your goals and define yourself,
Yeah.
not what
Okay.
other people do.
Mr.
Okay.
Krabi, yes.
What Mr.
Begin
Idaka said
from
is
the fact
very
that I
true.
think you don't have any problems.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, begin from there.
May I confess?
Actually,
I
yeah,
confess.
Yes.
I would like to say this, that having financial problems is actually what brought me to where I am now. Because if you read my story, I went into personal financial planning as a reaction to being in such difficult financial circumstances that I had to find a solution. So in looking for the solution, I learned about this profession and I went to study personal financial planning.
Okay.
So I have been there, I've been in the trenches.
Okay.
And one thing I can say is that financial problems can come even if you have all the skills, because you're not in control of everything. You can be having a very good income and then if you have a business, things go wrong, the economy goes wrong, or if you have a job, you lose a job, and definitely you will struggle. But one thing is true. If you plan your finances, you will always be in a much better position than somebody who doesn't. One easy way to look at this is when your finances are planned properly, you will have that emergency fund. So if your job ends, you will be able to run your life for a while, as usual, while looking for another source of income. Okay. So the turbulence which you would have had if your finances are not planned will not be there. So planning your finances is always a big plus in your life. It helps you achieve more.
Yes.
Absolutely. Starting, I always sound like a stack record. Starting with the end in mind is extremely important to be able to figure out what you need to do. And you asked, we sound like we have everything cut out together.
Yes.
And my story is, where I'm at today is because we have a Profit Accelerator, which is an online mentorship program that has come out of, one, my suffering of last year with the elections. When the elections happened and we're all crying, the elections has happened, we can't make money. The bottom line is I realized if elections is going to happen 5 years again. So last year when elections was happening, business owners were not signing up for anything because they wanted to keep their money. So we really had to think. I wasn't selling anything. But that time when I was not selling anything, because we had just started the network and people were not signing up for the network as we had thought they were going to sign up for, We had just signed a lease on a building that we're paying 1 million a year, and now it was not going to happen because elections was happening. And the person who was coming to partner with us was like, we're going to go to India and come back when Kenya is calm. All right? But I've signed on the lease, we've paid the first million. And 12 months down the line, this thing is not happening. So we speak let me speak for myself. I speak the way I speak because I've been working in small businesses with them and in them because of family business for 20 years now. And one of the things is I've been where we have had profit, and now in this time when I'm working with small business owners in this economy, they don't have profit. So my key thing is, what do we need to do to ensure that you not only have profit, but you're actually paying yourself, all right? So that has come out of having had a lot of money and having almost closed down last year, deep down in debt, trying to figure out, okay, what do we do with this building? And the Asians saying, you know what? You are a woman, you're a single mom, you're a widow. We are shaking hands, we are walking away on 12 million, all right? So if it was somebody else, I don't know what would have happened. So when you hear people speaking, when you hear people put stuff on social media, it is not our whole life, all right? And I'm not here to, by the rivers of Babylon kind of story, because there is help. Out of the mistakes I have made, I've come up with a program, and the program is helping other people. And because I have walked in the shoe where there was a mistake of not having profit almost 2 years, because this is what I love to do, and I want to do it and make sure it happens, but I had to rethink it when elections happened and nothing was coming at all. I had to rely on my family.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have spoken about all this. We've given all scenarios, and we have about 7 minutes on the clock. So I'll give you closing remarks. Give us a solution from the top of your head. I'm counting 12 days to the end of the year, and probably I had not planned properly, and this is real. It's going to happen. What do I do? I begin with you.
All right. First of all, I hope you have some way of having taken notes, because the wisdom that is here, it costs money to come and get this kind of wisdom. To sit with these people, you would be doing so.
Yes.
So take these notes, begin to sit down by yourself and make decisions about what you want to do. If you get that right, everyone at this table, we have said the same thing over and over again. What do you want, and what are you willing to do to get there? Can I give one example so that you understand? One of the actors that we love to go to the movies to go and watch is a gentleman called Dwayne Johnson. Do you know who he is?
Yes.
He's called The Rock. Other people know. Last year, he was the highest paid actor in Hollywood. I ask this question because most people will agree with me. He's not the best actor. But he was the highest paid actor. Why? Because there is a result to a good work ethic. He set his goals. He said, this is what I want to be. I want to be the best entertainer in the world, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. He wakes up, if you follow him on Instagram, he wakes up early and goes to the gym, even before he's going to work, and does other things like that. So it's not that you're going to be the best, but that you're willing to do the work to get there. And he's seeing the results of it. If you decide for yourself, Ken, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to have a purposeful plan towards it, you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. Therefore, don't sit back and say the world is happening to me. It is not. You take control of your journey and actually work on it. For those in this country, because I know there are those who don't, there are those who are struggling, earning less than $1 a day. For those people, it's hard for us to sit here and say save. What are you saving if you can't even buy bread?
Can't even afford
So my
food.
question to you is this: can you increase your income by finding new sources? But I also have to speak to the Ken Mijungus of this world and ask you, continue to be generous, because you never know what that giving will change in somebody's life. So even in December, even if it's tough, be generous. Why? Because in this country, there are no people that we can, it's not like the Western world where you have access. In this country, there are people who don't have access.
Social welfare.
There are some people in this country who, if they don't receive what you're going to give, it may actually mean life or death. So I say in this country, we cannot be closed our eyes to that. Be generous, but be generous with reason. You can't change the whole world by yourself.
Exactly. Frida.
All right. One, I must say, you did not get to this crunch time of 12 days overnight. It's not going to go away in 12 days. So first of all, get off that pressure. Your life will not change in 12 days. You have been living the December celebration, January life for a while now. So my recommendation for you again is step back and think, what do you need to do? First, what do you want in life? Whether you want to drive the Pro Box, you want to drive a bicycle, you want to walk, what do you want in life? You yourself, outside what everybody else wants for you. What do you want in life? And what are you going to do? Or what can you do to get it? And the other part of what you can't do yourself to get it, all right, get the help that you need. I always say that anytime you're struggling, it's a clear sign that you don't have the right support. There's nobody who has a perfect life. And there's support. The support could be your family, could be a peer, could be somebody in your network who can give you the support to alleviate the struggle. Your life is not going to change in 12 days, but it could start with you taking time out to decide what is your end in mind, what are you willing to do, what is the support that you need to do, even if you're going to save, what is it that exactly that you're saving for. So you take it as a time to step back and think back, because your life is not dependent on your conditions and your circumstances. Your life is dependent on the choices and decisions that you make. Each one of us has a bright future. We just have to stop now and think back. If I can't get the Mombasa, what can I get? Being grateful, there's a quote I like that, a grateful heart never knows lack, because when you're grateful for what you have, it increases. So start there. What do you have? Be grateful for that. All right. It's simple, but that's my message for you. Be grateful for what you have, but step back. What's your end in mind, and what are you going to do about it? And I wish you Merry Christmas and enjoy the reason for the season, which is Jesus Christ, not the gifts and the big cars. I just had to throw that in.
You know what you're saying reminds me of a quote that I read a while ago, that failure and success are not destinations. They're actually a choice. You choose. Right. Mr. Kirago.
I would like to say that most of us find ourselves in a difficult situation because of, first of all, lack of knowledge, and also the wrong attitude. And those are things which can actually be corrected. If you make a determination that you're going to learn the skills that you need to learn how to manage your finances, that can change your life. And then make a determination that you're going to actually implement them, because knowing them is one thing. Implementation is quite another. And like for me, there's a simple framework which I teach of personal financial management. If somebody just remembers this, it can really make a big impact. And that is, first of all, know where you are financially, your financial position. Next, have smart financial goals. Those are the goals Frida is talking about. And it's really, really important. The third thing is learn how to manage your cash flow. That is your income and your expenses. Fourth is learn how to invest, because even if you save and you don't invest, you won't get far. Then you also need to manage your personal risks. You may be doing very well, and then all of a sudden you get an accident, and you have to...
Everything is gone.
Yeah, that's right. So that's another thing. And then the fourth one is implementation. Now, all of this, I teach them in my training. I also have an online course which people who cannot come for the training can join, and they can learn these principles. But knowing them is one thing, implementing them is another. But once they start implementing them, then they'll find that they will never have to suffer again during Christmas or during any other time. Yeah.
I had a lot of questions for you, guys, and I think we're going to do another show next year with the three of you, precisely. We're out of time. We're out of time. But a lot of the time, the first question that is usually asked, you encourage us, but where do we begin? The youth will ask, where do we begin? Where do I begin? You know, and the other thing is, when you've told me all this, but how do I implement it? You know, there's so many questions that I wish to have asked you, but I can't. Thank you very much for coming to share with us. And you didn't have an opportunity to say Merry Christmas and him too, so you can say it as well.
No problem. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas and have a happy New Year. God bless you.
Thank you.
I also say Merry Christmas, everybody, and have a happy and prosperous New Year.
Thank you. Thank you, Manyara Kirago, personal financial planner and coach, and also trainer. Thank you very much. Frida Owinga, business breakthrough coach, founder of Passion Profit. Thank you very much. And of course, the new CEO. Thank you, Aidaka Gatumia, for coming to share with us. And
CEO of Centonomy.
Centonomy. I have to mention Centonomy. I have mentioned Centonomy 101 times. Thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts with us. And I assure you that I've taken notes. Right?
I hope
I've
so.
taken
I'll be
notes.
watching.
I've been
I'm not
recording.
concerned.
I've been
I'm
recording.
concerned.
All right. Have a good morning and enjoy the rest of your day.